Hey guys, Benji here, doing another weekly question of the week. The one for this week is, what are the most important lessons you've learned in life? So, kind of a big one, right? Like that's a meaning of meaning of life kind of questions. It feels like, but anyway, I think, I think the most important lessons in life are they're nothing different than what you've kind of known your whole life, right? Which is treat everybody with kindness. Um, do what you say that you're going to do. Don't lie lie as little as you can. Of course, there is some lying that has to go on. Nobody really wants to be honest 100% of the time, and you'd be a little brutal. I probably am one of the people that is the most straightforward of people that I know. I've been told that many times by friends. They're like, well, you know where you stand with Benji because he doesn't really, you know, he'll debate you to your face or say like, hey, what are you doing there? Or, well, that seems stupid. Um, so I think that I might take that to an extreme, but you get the idea about, like telling the truth, not lying, being a good person. But I think the easiest way to explain it is to, what are the most important lessons you've learned in life? I mean, a lot of it I can trace back to dad, right? I mean, he's kind of, you know, the best of all of us, right? We were having dinner. I forget how it came up. We were having dinner, me and Jen, and then Kevin and Jen Hovis were having dinner, and something came up about mom and dad. I think mom with her Alzheimer's and her memory fading and all that. And we said something about dad, and Kev goes, well, whatever we say, we can't say anything bad about Greg Lewis. I think Greg Lewis is about the greatest person I've ever met in my entire life. There is nothing that guy has ever done wrong. And you're like, that's pretty high praise. I mean, I think Kevin Hovis is a really nice guy, but for him to say that about dad, I think most people, friends of mine and anybody that knows him more than just a surface level, thinks that same thing. And I think that's just how dad does it. He just is honest and nice and helpful, and he kind of just followed the rules of life his whole life, of what it takes to be a good person and a good man and a good husband and a good father. He's just kind of yeah, he's a good one. So I think us kids have that as a nice role model, right? To be able to say, hey, this is who I kind of want to be like. And this is what I see every day. So you try to be like that. We fall short. Dad's better than all of us, but I think he teaches you those lessons that if you do things right and treat people with respect, that things tend to work out for you, and you'll have a good life, and people will treat you right. And I'm sure if dad ever need anything in life, there'd be lots and lots of people coming running because he's just a good guy. Um, Now, on other aspects, another way I can answer this question, or what are the most important lessons you've learned in life? I think there's some other ones. I think I probably always go back to financial stuff, but I do think one of the most important lessons that I've learned is that you need to save money. You need to save money because it's smart, and because the power of compounding interest is so huge that the earlier you save and the more you save, the easier life gets. Um, you need to save several different ways too. You need to have a rainy day fund, right? That fund right now in 2025, I think you need 15 or 20,000 in that fund, and then you need retirement funds. But then you also need, you can't get to a lot of those retirement accounts till you're 59 and a half. Well, what if you're like us and you're retiring at 51? So you need retirement funds that aren't in retirement accounts. You need them in just a regular brokerage account so that you have money to live on if and when you decide to retire early. So all those things. And that goes to, I think, a bigger life lesson, which is, because if you save a lot, if you save what you should, which means you're saving a lot because you actually should save a lot, that means that you are living below your means. And that's what you should be doing, right? Because it does make things easier. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to live like a pauper, because if you make good money, you can still have nice, fun things and go on vacations and do things that you want to do and still save a lot of money. But before you can go on the nice vacations and have nice things, you need to make a lot of money so that you're able to save a lot of money. So now that doesn't mean that you should be saving 50% of your paycheck. I mean, you can if you want. If you make, it'd be easy if you made $1 million a year or $600,000 a year right now. Well, that is 50 grand a month. Well, I assume you could live on 25 grand a month and put 25 grand away in savings in all sorts of accounts. Sure. But if you're a normal person, let's call them normal, and you're making 100 grand or so, you still need to be putting away $10,000 or $12,000 every year into savings accounts of all different things. Because if you'll just do it when you're young, it just makes things a whole lot easier and gives you so many more options later in life, right? There's a great scene, I forget the movie, but it's John Goodman, and he's talking to Mark Wahlberg, and he's saying about what you need to do is you need to have $2 million, because $2 million allows you to say, fuck off, right? It means that if your boss is being a jerk and he's a horrible person, you can tell him to fuck off. You can quit, right? If somebody's being a jerk to you, you can tell them, like, screw you, I don't need this anymore. Like, I'll be fine because I have money that I can live off of without having an income for a while because I have saved. When you don't have any money, you have to stay in jobs that you hate longer than you want, and maybe longer than are best for your career. So there's all sorts of those kind of things that come up that the savings really helps. Um, Other most important lessons. I mean, I think that's a lot of it. I mean, I think, right, there's some blocking and tackling that is just so straightforward and easy. I think that's the good stuff. That's the easy stuff. Then if everybody would just do that, the other stuff kind of can take care of itself because it's little. So I think if you are treating people with respect, and that means everybody, right? Before I go into this, I'm gonna hit another important life lesson. The other important lesson I think that I have learned over my 51 years is nobody is as smart as you think they are. I think I have met very few really impressive people. Um, I think when you're younger, when you're 20 and 30 and 40, you assume that the 45-year-old or the 38-year-old that you meet that has had success in business or in whatever they're in, and they're considered successful, you think like, man, that guy must have all the answers. He must be super sharp. If I got in a room with that guy, I could pick his brain. It just doesn't happen that often. There's not many people that I just run across and go, man, that guy's really sharp. Or that lady is really, really on top of it. Man, she's really good. Now there's lots of them, right? I mean, I think there's got to be 20 people, but I guess I just thought everybody that made $150,000 or more, when I was younger, you're just like, they must be the best salesman in the world. They must be the best manager in the world. They must be the best accountant that's ever been. And you get there and you meet them and you're like, oh, this guy is an idiot. And he got here because of luck and family and friendships and all these different things. And I'm not saying that's not a way to do it, right? Because there's all sorts of ways to get there. You don't just have to be sharp. All I'm saying is that just because someone's in a role or in a position, it doesn't make them that smart. So, and I think the life lesson to take from this is simply don't undersell yourself. You might be going into a meeting with somebody that you're really nervous for, and you get into it, and halfway through it, or when you leave and you're in your car and you're like, man, I actually think that person is lucky. I think they've hit the top of what they can do. They've gotten the most out of all their cards that they are playing. Like, their hand was not that good. And they're kind of dumb, and they make dumb mistakes like that they could have done so much better just by doing I don't know. There's just a lot of those. There's a lot of those people that you meet, and you're just like, oh wow, you are succeeding in spite of yourself, and either they're in an industry that is fabulous, or I mean, think about the in my lifetime, because of mortgages and when they went bad and they went good. I mean, there were some stupid people that were making 80 grand a month doing mortgages, not because of anything that they were doing. 2 years before, they were making 40 grand a year, and all of a sudden they're making 40 grand a month because of external things. And you think like, oh, that guy must be so sharp. He just bought a $2 million house and he's driving a brand new Range Rover. And then you talk to him, you're like, that guy is an idiot. So I think if I would give my younger self a lesson, it's to have more faith in yourself, to think like, hey, you're pretty smart too. Hey, you have a pretty good head on your shoulders, and you'll do fine in this meeting. You'll actually give as much, if not more, than you're getting from this meeting. So I think that's a good thing. Like when, right now and for the past, I don't know, 5 years, Bruce Garner and Dave Fire-Robin and I get together, and I love those meetings because I just think, man, Bruce is really good at this. He's really smart at being able to tackle things, a complex idea, and break it down in the simplest of terms. That's a really good skill. And then with Dave Fire-Robin, I just think his marketing brain and the way he attacks things from a analytics standpoint, and just let's test it and try it out, and then let's tweak and just keep A/B testing over and over. He gets down to the granular idea or the granular solution to a problem quickly and smartly, just a whole lot better than the average person. And I love those meetings, right? And so I think when you meet those people, hold on to them, because they're valuable for relationship advice. It doesn't have to be love interest. It can be like, man, this client did this to me, or this employee is doing this. Can you believe that? And like, no, that's happened to me before. Here's what we did, or here's what I did the first time. That was stupid. I let my emotions get the best of me. Instead, do this. It'll cut them out of your life, and you move on, and everything will be fine. And so I think I take a lot of that kind of lessons that you get from smart people, because smart people aren't just smart about their business or their industry, or they're smart with their financing. They're smart with their retirements. They're smart with everything that they do, right? Everything's thought through just a little bit more and calculated a little bit better. So I think that's a good life lesson on both things. One, there's not that many smart people. So don't be so intimidated. Don't be so nervous as a younger person. Think, hey, I'm pretty smart too. But two, when you do run into smart people, keep them around. They're invaluable, and they're not that frequent in life where you run into those kind of people. Because even people in my life that I thought, man, this guy's really sharp, and as I've gotten older and gotten better in different aspects of my life, a lot of them business wise, I look at it and go, oh, I think I'm better at business than that guy is now. I think he helped me get to a point, but he's actually only about here, which is really good. But I think I'm right here, and I'm just past him now. Maybe I'm helping him more, and that's great because you're paying him back, right, for the help that he's given you. So that's awesome to go, hey, that's good, Jimmy, but you know what you should do on this? And I've read some things, or I've talked to a guy that's done this. He did this, this, and this, and that really made it explode. And then you help him, they do that, and he's like, oh, Benji, that was so helpful. That was awesome. That was a great idea. Yeah, give back, right? So you don't want to be the smartest guy in every room, but it's okay to be the smartest guy in some rooms and help other people. That's a good thing. So don't be afraid of that. But all that said, I think I would believe in myself more. I think you always want to be nice to everybody that you come in contact with, and show respect, and be um, mindful of that. Another important life lesson that I learned from a guy named Jim Gifford, who's up in Toronto with Last Minute Golfer, and so I got to know him through that, he had a saying that I always remembered, and I think it's really smart because as a younger person, I didn't do it. I sometimes would just, I'd get a mean email or somebody was mad, and I just fire a mean email right back at them. And he always said, he's like, you can tell somebody to fuck off tomorrow. And I think that is a great lesson, especially for younger people. As you get older, you understand that more. And Jim was older than me. I don't know how much older, maybe 10 years. He's probably 60, 65, somewhere in there now. And as you get older, you understand that intuitively yourself. But as a younger person, it was smart to hear, like, you can be mad and you can write the email and you can delete it and not send it, because once you send it, it's gone. Like you've just said, you told that guy to fuck off, like screw you. But the smarter person says, I'm not going to do that now. Maybe there's still something to salvage from this. Maybe there's something out there, but I think I can wait, because you can always tell them to fuck off tomorrow, right? So I think that's a funny good lesson. But I think it's a good lesson is to don't, when you're upset, don't send emails, don't make phone calls, don't do that. You'll say things you regret. And even if you don't, even if you're like, yeah, I told that guy off and that was perfect, that was just what was needed. And sometimes that is needed, but just give yourself a day or two. And if you still want to send that email and you still think it sounds good, then send it, because sometimes people deserve to go, screw you, I'm firing you as a client, or I'm firing you as an employee, or but do it after some thought and after some, some time to let some of that stuff slow down. But I think those are the kind of main ideas. I feel like this video is kind of all over the place, but the 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 having the idea of doing what you say you're going to do, I think is probably one of the biggest things. Don't be the guy that says, "Hey, I'm just making up things. I can go on this golf trip," and then you bail all the time. Hey, sure, I can. Yeah, we can meet up for lunch next Tuesday, and you bail, and then you reschedule for the next Wednesday, and you bail. Like, just don't be that guy. Be the guy that everybody goes, that guy's solid. Yeah, man, he said he'd be here at 2 o'clock. It's 2:05. There are some guys that happens, and you're like, oh my god, did he just forget about it? And then there are people that you go, he'll show. Probably on the phone. He could be on the phone in the parking lot right now, and he's going to come in and apologize, and it's not going to be a big deal. But I know that guy will show up, because if he couldn't show up, he would let me know, and he would say, I'm going to be there. So just doing what you say you're going to do, and saying if you can't do it, it's just better, right? For anything. I'll go back to a golf trip again, but if somebody says, hey, I'm going to go to this golf trip to Tara Iti in New Zealand, it's going to cost $12,000. And you're sitting there going, I don't have $12,000 to go on a golf trip. That sounds awesome. But just say that. Just say, oh man, I would love to. That sounds incredible. I'm not going to be able to do that because, man, I don't know if I could. I've got a regular job. I only got so many vacation days, and you're going to be there for 13 days, and it's going to cost 15 grand. Man, I would love to, but I can't. I'm gonna have to back out. But you should find somebody else, and just say that. And people go, cool, man. Yeah, just tell me no early. Don't be like, oh yeah, I think Benji's in. I think he's gonna go. And then once it comes down to like putting a deposit down or doing something, buying plane tickets, like, hey man, I'm not gonna make this happen. You're like, oh my god, like you knew it a long time ago. Why couldn't you just say it? So be the person that does what they say. I mean, that is such a good habit to get into. It's such a good. I love those kind of people. Always be kind. Always be nice to anybody and everybody. Treat everybody with respect. Nobody's any better. I think Bruce Garner does that as well as anybody. He's so kind and considerate to everybody, and everybody else looks at him like, oh man, that guy's the big dog. He's one of the big guys at the country club or in business, and he's done really well, and you wouldn't know it from talking to him. He's just as kind. He's not looking to gain anything from a friendship besides a friendship. I feel like that's a really good trait. So if you could have that, that'd be good. But all the other stuff, I mean, when in doubt, how would Greg Lewis act? Um, yeah, that's a good one to go off of. Other nice people that I know of that I aspire to be that I'm never gonna be. Brad Shields is that way. Brad's very similar to my dad. He's just straightforward, honest, good person. Wants to be a good dad, good husband. He's just not. Yeah, they're kind of cut from that same cloth. Probably why I like Brad so much. I would say Mark Dieter, Mike Chamberlain. A lot of my closest friends. So you try to pick those people that you admire as your friends, and then all of a sudden, you like being around them. You're proud to have them as friends, and they're just good resources to have, and back sounding boards to have if you have an idea or a thought or something that you can go to them. You're going to get good information and good advice because they're good people at their core. Um, yeah, yeah, they just are. So actually, that's another life lesson. Pick really good friends. I mean, that whole saying, it's so cliche about you are the five people that you hang around the most. I don't know if that's true. Sometimes some of my best friends, when I really think about it, a lot of my friends are really good people. Some of my best friends, Brad Shields and Kevin Hovis, Mark Dieter, my dad, all those people, I might not see them that often. I might hang out with other people, but those are still my friends that I would call when something came up that was important, that I really wanted some advice on. Uh, Bruce Garner, those kind of people that you're just like, yeah, they're just going to give you really sound advice because they're really solid people. They're really solid men that I can say, hey, what would you advise in this situation? This is happening in my life. Have you gone through this? Do you know anything about this? How would you tackle this situation or issue? So do that. Surround yourself with smart people, kind people. I think if you do that, then that rubs off on you, and you become kinder, softer, because I think that's always a better way to be. Um, the whole idea of being like this tyrant CEO, I mean, it sounds good for a movie or for a book even, but those aren't the people that, those typically aren't the people that succeed. The people that succeed are people that are, everybody loves those people. Everybody likes them. They're able to win friends and influence people, right, quickly and over and over and over. So do all those things. So take this video for what it's worth. It's a long one, and there's a lot of little tidbits in there, but at the end of the day, yeah, everybody knows what you're supposed to do. It's just the people that succeed, or I think that have quote unquote successful lives, they do those things. They don't say, oh, I'll save next year. I won't be a jerk to this person. I am going to be a jerk to this guy. I don't care that I know that I'm not supposed to. And I talked to 3 people and they said, just let it go. Nope, I'm going to freaking let them have it. Don't be that. So hang around those nicer people and you'll start acting like them. So that would be good. So, all right, that's where I'm going to end it. We'll see you later. Bye.